Now, I left a long pause in there on purpose, and I'll tell you about why. Because traditionally, this story, right? How many of you have heard this story before? Right? And usually, when it's preached, is the message something about seeking out Jesus, and that is like the thing that Zacchaeus does that's redemptive. That he's trying to be good, and in order to try to be good, he's got to follow Jesus, and so he goes, he even does this heroic feat of climbing a sycamore tree. How amazing. Jesus sees him, says, "You, good man, I'm going to hang out with you. Affirmations, gold stars, blah, blah, blah." What a lame story. Just like, seriously, what a lame story. It also doesn't make any sense. Because how is it that he's already following Jesus before he's following Jesus, and somehow because he just wants to see Jesus, that's the important part? It just doesn't work. Well, there's some fun clues in this story. Number one, the name Zacchaeus itself means pure or innocent, which immediately should tell us this is a parable story, right? Number two, it tells us he's a rich man, and Luke has just spent most of the last few chapters calling out rich people. So that should be another clue that he makes a point to say that this is a rich man. And then number three, he ends the parable by, or I'm going to call it a parable. I'm not going to call it a story of Jesus. I'm going to call it a parable because I think that's more descriptive. He ends it by saying, "For the Son of Man came to seek out and save" who?
The lost.
The lost. Didn't anywhere in that story it sound like Zacchaeus thought he was lost? Absolutely not. When I read that story, I think, oh, how interesting. People are giving Zacchaeus a hard time, and the first thing he does when Jesus shows up, he says, "Look at how great I am. I work so hard to be a good guy. I give away all my stuff. I don't defraud anybody." And I think to myself, that sounds a little defensive, doesn't it? That sounds a little like somebody who's not all that comfortable and wanting to prove themselves to somebody that these crowds respect and think is great. Sounds like somebody looking for a gold star. Somebody looking for some validation, perhaps. I'm going to say something at the risk of making you defensive. I'm going to say that defensiveness is a sign of spiritual immaturity. And I say that as a person who is spiritually immature in various places and is defensive in various places. But not to make you too defensive, I'm going to argue today that your defensiveness is a sign of spiritual immaturity. Sam's going to have to roll really quick, so it's okay that you're doing things and need to bounce if you need to. All right. What is defensiveness? At its core, defensiveness is when somebody brings something to you and you say, "Nuh-uh," or "How dare you?" Right? I want to argue that defensiveness is when we respond to something because it threatens who we think we are, more than we're willing to consider that it's about the consequences of our actions. When somebody brings something to us, usually they're trying to say, "Hey, that thing you did produced this outcome, and this outcome didn't work out for me." But what we hear is, "You're a such and such, and you're a so-and-so, and you need to be different." Not, "You need to probably think about how you just acted because it produced this outcome," but it threatens who we are, and our defensiveness is about defending who we are. I'm a good person, damn it. Who out there knows what I'm talking about, right? Which means that defensiveness is a response to shame. On some level, we're defensive because we feel shame, which is a sign of spiritual immaturity. When we feel shame, that means that our worthiness is somehow threatenable, that there's something that could actually take away our belovedness. Now, I'm not telling you that there's a problem with you if you feel shame. We all get shamed for various reasons throughout our lives. We all get convinced there's something wrong with us, something broken about us. If we were only different in this particular way, then we'd be fine. But right now, we're pieces of garbage. I just want to tell you, just because you've believed lies your whole life doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, but it doesn't mean it's not a lie. We are all in the process of recovering our belovedness. And the places that we feel shame are the places that we've learned to believe some lies about our own worthiness. about our own dignity, our own worth, our own value. And our defensiveness is a sign, a clue to us about our spiritual immaturity in that particular area. Now, y'all know me, and you know that I don't think of immaturity as an insult. I think of it as a description. I'm immature in all kinds of ways that I could list to you very easily. And we all are, and we are all growing in our capacity to be more mature, right? But we all need to be aware that there are places in our lives where we're just not touching it, and we're just avoiding it, and we're going away from it. So I want you to think about this interaction with Jesus, and I want you to think about this long pause. So there's this guy, Zacchaeus, and he is getting a bunch of grief from his fellow Jews, even though he is pure and innocent, and he's trying to project that he's actually this good guy. I'm not like those other toll collectors that really skim off the top. I just get enough to live. I mean, I'm rich, and this is my only job. But, I have become accustomed to a certain standard of living, and I like 1,000-thread Egyptian cotton everything. So, I'm a good guy, and there's Jesus, and he knows about good guys, and he welcomes all these other people, and they all walk away feeling good about themselves. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get close to that guy. And then Jesus points him out and says, I need to go to your house. And he thinks, yes, I'm going to get my membership card and my merit badge. They pulled me over to talk to me. And then he has this speech ready about all the things. And I just imagine Jesus going, and then dude being like, oh, damn it. And then Jesus says the thing about this house has been justified. You too are a child of Abraham. I just imagine this long pause and this knowing stare where the dude realizes, oh crap, I'm really defensive right now. I have something to prove to Jesus. What am I trying to prove? What am I trying to defend? Oh crap. And then he knows he's lost. And then he knows he's in need. And then he knows why Jesus is in his house. Right? Defensiveness is a sign of spiritual immaturity. It is a teacher, actually. It is a revealer. It helps us understand where are we still struggling to believe that we're worthy enough. I am really defensive about two particular things, and I am growing in my ability to be less defensive. Number one, I'm very defensive about being a parent, because I'm terrified that I am fucking my child up all the time. I'm terrified that everything I choose to do, including choosing to get tubes in his ears, actually cause sensory problems for him later on. Like how much of a failure. How can you ever do it right, parents? You cannot. You are just constantly, chronically screwing it up, right? And I am so defensive about that. And I'm growing in it. I'm also super defensive about the amount of chores I do around the house because I know that I don't do enough. I know I am not picking up my side of the street. I know that we are not equals in that. And so every time I unload the dishwasher, damn it, I want somebody to notice. You know what I'm talking about? I want somebody to acknowledge me for sweeping the floor and turning on the Roomba as if that's equal to washing the dishes or doing the laundry. Oh my God. Can I just own that I am very defensive about that crap? Oh. And it's a sign of my spiritual immaturity because I am still believing that if I do that, I'll be good enough instead of realizing that I'm already good enough and that's work that needs to be done. It doesn't impinge on my goodness if I do it or not, but I know that if I don't do it, it sits there and somebody else is going to have to do it. And maybe she's going to do it because she believes she's supposed to because she's the woman in a straight relationship and she's supposed to take care of all this crap. And if I don't step up, I'm letting her continue to believe that. And I'm participating in her own shame about not accomplishing all these things that are her responsibility because of the patriarchy. So am I going to just grow up? Well, we'll see. Maybe Jesus will come over to my house and call me out a little bit, right? Our defensiveness is this incredible gift if we let it be. if we let it direct our attention and not our behavior. Because you know what it is to act out of your defensiveness. You know when you let your defensiveness get a hold of your mouth, right? And start saying some things, start claiming some space. How many times have you been in a fight that was 5 times too long because you dug in? You're like, no, but you shouldn't have said that way. You should have been nicer to me, and I deserve blah, blah, blah. And, oh, Jesus. Oh. But if we let it be our teacher, if we let it direct our attention, in the moment we just say, wow, it sounds like that really hurt, or it sounds like that really scared you, or it sounds like that really frustrates you. What do you need me to do in this moment? And take a beat, right? And then ask yourself, what did I learn from my defensiveness? What was my defensiveness lifting up to my consciousness? What am I really scared of that I think I need to defend? And is it something I need to work on? Is it some old garbage beliefs I need to do some work to undo? Where is it rooted in me? Because this guy Zacchaeus knows he's swimming off the top. He knows that he's what's that word? Not philanthropizing, philandering. Oh, it's a word about stealing stuff from people. It's a good word.
No, it's like
yeah, anyway, I'll remember. He knows that this is going on, right? He's aware of it, and he's trying his best to pretend that it's not true. And he's looking for somebody to just validate. Just tell me I'm good so I don't have to worry about this thing anymore, but it's sitting there, right? How many of you have something sitting there that you're not dealing with, not processing, not working on? Because, that's hard work. I don't wanna. So, instead of leaving you here and saying, you're all terrible just like me, and we all have so much work to do, and blah, 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 and instead want to invite you to the opposite, I want you to think about, where are you less defensive now than you were 10 years ago? Where is it harder to get you into a fight? Where have you been better at apologizing, better at owning your crap, better at saying, yep, totally, that is a pattern that I have, and I'm working on it. Like, where are you less defensive now than you were 10 years ago? Where are you becoming more spiritually mature? And what is it that is helping you grow spiritually in that area? Because if you can figure that out, it's transferable. It's transferable. Where are you less defensive? Where are you more mature now than you were 10 years ago? What's helping you get there?